Let me just see. I might not put it up, but let me just do it anyway. So narcs will discard you, and they'll need a reason to come back. I watched this video recently about narcs, and the guy was talking about the birthday message. And I remember with the narc number one I dealt with, her ex-boyfriend messaged her on her birthday. And it's weird because she used to talk really bad about him, and they seem to have not got on. So the fact that he was sending her birthday message, I thought was weird. And I was watching this video, and he was talking about how the birthday message is a Hoover. So the Hoover is like, they just test the water to see where you are with them. So they message you happy birthday to see if they can kind of slide back in. But yeah, and it was weird because she also used to sleep with a picture of him next to our bed. So she had these people. They're really they're very peculiar folk. You shouldn't even try to understand them. They're weird. But anyway, I was thinking about this thing about narcs and what they do to come back. And I was thinking about this particular person that I hung out with not too long ago. So we hung out, and she left this cap at my house. And it's just like a cap, do you know what I mean? But say about 3 weeks later, I started getting like missed calls, messages. Oh, my hat. I left my hat at your house. I need to come and get my hat. So I'm like, listen, anytime you want to come and get your hat's there, safe, you know, I'm not wearing it. Let me know, we can arrange it. I was doing this big job at a sports venue, a very big job. She was miscalling me during the day, messaging me up and down. Where are you gonna be in tonight? Can I come and get my hat? So I'm like, yeah, of course you can. Come get your hat. This went on for like another 2 weeks, because one night she'd be like, oh, I can't come, I'm busy. And then I'd be like, okay, whatever. And then she finally came and got her hat. I never heard from her again. But how it works with them is like, they will leave an item of theirs in your property because at this point they've deemed you not the one, not the one for like them. You're like tertiary supply, secondary, tertiary, but you're not the one. So they've left it there. So when they've like come at an end and they need an excuse, they'll get in touch and they'll be like making a big deal. She was making a big deal out of a cap. Like, it's the only cap I get. I need it. It's so important, blah. I need to wear that one cap. And it was like, do you know what I mean? These folk, they're so entitled and they take no accountability. She left a cap. I had this big job on. I had to think about making plans for someone who was kind of taking my brain space about a cap, a little cap. She wasn't working. So it's funny. And also when I was talking to her as well, she didn't have a place to live. And I got my own place. So even at one time, I think that may have come into conversation when I was like, oh, if you need somewhere just for a week or two. But I think that's what they do, man. They're so clever. The first one got me for a place. She got me to pay for a place. But this is how they work. It's like narcs they're like hobos. They claim like they're nomads. Like, oh, I'm looking after someone's house. I'm traveling, I'm looking after someone's house. But a lot of them, they don't really organize themselves. Like, they won't have a place to live, so they need you to help them live somewhere. And the narc number 3, who was the worst narc, she lived in this like little ass box room, mattress on the floor. Yeah, man. I thought it was a bit strange. But yeah, narcs, they're very similar to each other. Even like the narc, I think she started seeing my roommate at one place that I was living, but I was living there like I was an artist, so I was kind of living out of my studio. But he was living there, like, he was like a lot older than me, so like a full grown man, but he was living like in an empty room. It was just like a room and a mattress on the floor, like empty. Couple of like little things. Like in my room was like it was like a studio with a bed, but there was like a whole studio there with records and books and pictures and everything on the wall and everything. So I'd made it into like a studio, but it was like a bed sit. But his room was literally like just a mattress on the floor. So he'd just be in there just watching his phone all day, or when he got back from whatever he was doing. But yeah, these lot, man, they're just like, I can't describe them, but they all have this in common. Like, they're just, because I don't mind, like, sometimes if you're like an artist and sometimes you want to have like the basic essentials. So it's like, if you make something, you don't want to be getting too much influence from energy from all the things that surround you, like too many things. But he was an artist. He wasn't an artist, and the girl, number 3, she wasn't an artist either. But her room was just empty, man. But yeah, even that number 3, I can't remember what it was, but she did the same. I think it was like she needed something from me that was lent to me. So once, yeah, some DVDs or something. So she kept messaging me for she wanted her DVDs back. So this is something they do. So when you get discarded, if you can help it, try and give them all their goods. So they've got no reason to try and hoover you. That's what they do it on purpose. And when they come back, it's not immediately. It's all a game. They want you to be pining. I was pining for number 3. I was the trauma bond. She's not somebody that you can pine for. Even a scenario that I got in with someone else, after that, it's just like you end up on a cycle. It's where you're sort of like, they downgrade, so they go with a lesser supply, but you also can sometimes end up in scenarios with people that are not meant for you. And I did that a couple of times with like other people. So yeah, we have our own wounds and issues that we need to deal with, and we have to really focus on our own problems. But we have to also make sure we have like good boundaries in place. We need to make sure that we have like self-care routines and really take care of ourselves and not allow ourselves to get into these dynamics, because at the end of the day, we just get used. They just use us for like resources. That's literally it. Just a place to stay, money, connections. Yeah, number 3, you lose all your friend group, your reputation is shot. Yeah, man, they just throw you away and they get a new one. So it's a very sick cycle. Narcissistic abusive cycle is very, very sick. I don't wish it on my worst enemy, seriously. It's like I'm gonna make a video about it, but it's basically like death by 1,000 paper cuts. It's like a slow burning. It's like a slow abuse. It's not like it happens straight away. They work on you slowly, like learning all your problems, learning like all your like weak spots, and they just hit you. When they hit you, you don't realize that you have been in a war. So it's like, imagine like you go to a war, you haven't got any weapons, you don't even know you're in a war, but there's someone else who's been planning all their little games and planning all their weapons months before, and so they come equipped. You've got nothing. That's basically what it is. Yeah, man. These people that they're like cold blooded. They'll get theirs.